Across every continent on Earth, wildlife moves according to the rhythm of vast migrations and silent struggles that determine which creatures will endure. These are not gentle journeys or predictable routes. They are demanding passages shaped by hunger, thirst, fatigue, and the ever-present shadow of danger. Entire herds travel for weeks, sometimes for months, guided by an ancient instinct carried through generations. They follow distant storms, fresh grasslands, and fragile water sources that can disappear without warning. Yet this story is not only about those who travel. The perspective shifts. The world is seen through the eyes of the predators, the silent watchers hidden in shadow. The hunters that judge distance with precision, read the wind with patience, and wait for the exact moment when weakness appears. For them, the movement of migration is not simply a spectacle of nature. It is a crucial chance to survive. Every river crossing can become a deadly challenge. Every open plain may transform into a hunting ground. While some animals move forward driven by the hope of survival, others depend on that same movement to avoid starvation. Their destinies become tightly connected in a balance as ancient as the wilderness itself. In the wild, migration is a constant struggle. And when these great journeys are viewed through the perspective of the hunter, a deeper truth of the natural world is revealed. In nature, one life often continues only because another has come to an end. At the edge of East Africa, where the savanna stretches almost endlessly toward the horizon, the land itself seems to move. The motion is anything but quiet. A constant thunder of hooves, drifting dust, and vast herds rolling forward fills the landscape. Here, migration does not follow narrow paths. It unfolds like a living tide sweeping across the plains. This is the largest land migration of mammals on Earth. Each year, more than 1 million wildebeest travel alongside hundreds of thousands of zebras and gazelles, covering roughly 800 to 1,000 kilometers in a nearly predictable cycle between the Serengeti Plains and the grasslands of the Masai Mara. The purpose is simple and unavoidable: fresh water and new grass. Yet the simplicity of the goal contrasts sharply with the harshness of the journey. Wildebeest do not follow a fixed road. Their route shifts with rainfall, wind patterns, and the changing condition of the land. The enormous herd behaves almost like a single living organism capable of reshaping the environment as it passes. Grasslands are grazed down. The soil becomes enriched with nutrients, and weeks later, the savanna grows back with renewed strength. The scale of the movement is so vast that it can even be seen from space. For months, the plains resemble a dark, pulsing carpet that never seems to rest. The ground trembles, the air thickens with dust, and every stride carries risk. Because this migration is not simply a march toward abundance, it is a chain of dangerous moments. Among all the challenges along the route, none is more decisive than the rivers. When the herd encounters a barrier of water, the forward surge slows and compresses. Thousands gather along the banks, pushing, hesitating, retreating, and advancing again. Fear spreads through the crowd like a wave, yet the pressure of animals behind allows no pause. Eventually, one leaps into the river, and within seconds, the rest follow. What was once a calm channel becomes a chaotic surge. Bodies collide, the current sweeps away the weaker animals, and many lose their footing within the first few meters. The crossing has no clear order. It becomes a powerful overflow of motion and confusion, and within that disorder, another ancient presence reveals itself. Beneath the dark surface of these African rivers live predators that do not need to chase the herds across the plains. They simply wait. Nile crocodiles are among the oldest hunters still ruling the planet. With slow metabolisms, remarkable patience, and a keen ability to read their surroundings, they have long learned that the wildebeest migration is a recurring event, predictable, concentrated, and unavoidable. For much of the year, the river offers few opportunities, but when the crossing season begins, the balance shifts dramatically. Within days, scarcity turns into sudden abundance. A crocodile does not pursue the fastest animal or challenge the strongest. Instead, it takes advantage of confusion, crowded water, and a single moment of miscalculation. The murky river limits vision, the force of the herd disrupts balance, and one slip can determine the fate of an animal weighing more than 200 kilograms. Yet the migration never stops. For every individual that falls, many others reach the opposite bank. The strategy is not to remove danger, but to spread the risk. The power of the migration lies in its sheer numbers, its persistence, and its unbroken momentum. Those that fail to cross do not disappear without purpose. Their bodies become food for crocodiles, fish, and birds, and they also nourish the river itself. Minerals and organic matter drift downstream for many kilometers, feeding life far beyond the original herd. As long as rains continue to renew the grass and rivers continue to interrupt the path, this cycle will repeat year after year, transforming movement into survival, and every crossing into an opportunity for those who know how to wait. When the great river crossings of the wildebeest finally subside, the landscape does not fall silent at once. The rivers gradually return to their calm flow. The dust settles over the plains, and the herd continues its long journey. Yet the passage leaves behind a scattered trace across the savanna, still bodies of animals that failed to overcome the current, collapsed from exhaustion, or simply lacked the strength to keep moving. At that moment, another kind of movement begins. Long before any scent can be detected from the ground, small dark shapes appear high in the sky. At first, they seem insignificant, barely visible against the vast blue, but within minutes their numbers grow, circling slowly and drawing tighter loops above the plains. To a distant observer, it may look like coincidence. For vultures, it is precise information. These birds are specialists at locating death across enormous distances. Some species can detect a carcass from many kilometers away thanks to remarkably sharp eyesight and an ability to read the behavior of other birds already in flight. The descent of a single vulture often triggers a chain reaction, guiding dozens more toward the same place. During the Great Migrations, these gatherings can become extraordinary in scale. Around the body of a single wildebeest or antelope, dozens. Sometimes hundreds of vultures may assemble, forming a restless mass that constantly shifts and reorganizes. What appears chaotic is actually governed by a clear hierarchy. Larger species claim access first, while smaller ones wait at the edges, ready to slip into any opening that appears. The transformation happens with astonishing speed. A carcass that might normally take days to decay can be reduced to clean bones in less than half an hour. Muscles, organs, and soft tissue vanish almost entirely. Nothing is wasted, yet their role extends far beyond feeding. Vultures serve as the sanitation system of the savanna. By rapidly removing large amounts of decaying organic matter, they help prevent the spread of harmful bacteria, reduce potential sources of infection, and limit diseases that could threaten wildlife and even nearby human communities. Research in several regions has shown that when vulture populations decline sharply, diseases linked to unconsumed animal remains increase noticeably. At the same time, opportunistic scavengers far less efficient at nature's cleanup often expand in number. During the migrations, vultures do not follow the herds themselves. Instead, they follow the consequences. Where massive herds move, mistakes happen. Where mistakes occur, death appears. And where death gathers, vultures arrive. Their presence also sends signals across the landscape. Ground predators learn to scan the sky, and human herders do the same. A spiral of circling birds overhead often means that something has ended below. But within the logic of the natural world, it is not truly an ending. It is a transformation. Every consumed body returns nutrients to the soil. Calcium from bones, microscopic remnants, and fluids that seep into the ground all enrich the earth. Within weeks, the place where an animal fell may become a patch of greener, thicker vegetation, a future feeding ground for the next wave of travelers. In this way, vultures complete a cycle that began months earlier, when the first rains awakened the grasslands. They do not chase prey or defend vast territories. Instead, they wait patiently for the inevitable cost of migration and transform that ending into the beginning of new life. In Africa, great migrations unfold under scorching heat, swirling dust, and murky rivers. At the opposite end of the planet, however, movement is governed by a completely different force, cold. Across the vast Arctic and subarctic regions where the landscape appears frozen in time for much of the year, life also travels great distances. But here, the motion is not loud or chaotic. It is quiet, steady, and relentless. Caribou undertake some of the longest land migrations on Earth, with annual routes that can exceed 5,000 kilometers. Their journey crosses open tundra, boreal forests, frozen rivers, and windswept plains. Often there are no clear trails or landmarks to follow. Temperatures can plunge far below -40 degrees, turning the environment itself into a constant challenge. The drive behind this movement is not only the search for food, but the need to align their life cycle with an ecosystem that can change dramatically within a matter of weeks. During the brief Arctic summer, the herds move northward toward areas where vegetation bursts into growth under the nearly endless daylight. Insects may swarm in great numbers, but they pose a lesser threat than the scarcity of food elsewhere. It is here that calves are born, with most arrivals occurring within a remarkably short window of time. This synchronization is no accident. By giving birth almost simultaneously, the herd spreads the risk. Predators are present, but when thousands of calves enter the world at once, it becomes impossible to pursue them all. As winter begins to reclaim the land, the direction of travel reverses. The herds gradually head south in search of places where strong winds sweep the snow aside, revealing the lichens hidden beneath the frozen surface. These modest organisms, which offer little nutrition for most plant-eating animals, form the foundation of the caribou's winter diet and remain one of the few reliable resources during months of near-continuous darkness. Physically, the caribou is remarkably suited to life on the move. Its broad hooves function like natural snowshoes, spreading weight across soft snow in winter. During the warmer months, those same hooves harden, allowing easier travel over rocky ground. A coat made of hollow hairs traps heat efficiently, and the animal's metabolism can slow to conserve energy when food becomes scarce. Even with these advantages, the migration demands a heavy toll. Sudden blizzards early thaws rivers, breaking open ahead of schedule or thick ice. Sealing food beneath the ground can transform a familiar route into a harsh test of endurance. In some years, the most serious losses are not caused by hunters but by the climate itself. Predators, when they appear, usually remain along the edges of the herd, watching for the injured, the young, or those that fall behind. Yet unlike many other migrations, the greatest threat here does not come with teeth or claws. It arrives from the sky, carried on the wind and measured in dropping temperature. The migration of the caribou is not defined by dramatic chases or constant attacks. Instead, it is a prolonged trial of resilience. It exists because the Arctic does not allow stillness. To remain in one place is to risk disappearing. Moving forward despite cold storms and uncertainty is the only path that offers a chance to survive. Along the edges of the Arctic, where the ocean presses against shifting sheets of sea ice, migration takes on a very different form. It does not unfold across endless routes or sweep through vast plains. Instead, movement becomes compressed and concentrated. Walruses travel seasonally with the advance and retreat of the sea ice, which serves as a floating platform where they can rest between long feeding sessions on the ocean floor. There they spend hours stirring the sediment with their whiskered snouts, searching for clams and other shellfish hidden in the mud. When the ice retreats too far or disappears entirely, these animals are forced to find alternatives. That is when massive gatherings begin along the coastline. In certain parts of the Arctic, tens of thousands of walruses crowd onto narrow beaches or rocky shores. Space becomes scarce, yet the need for rest is shared by all. Bodies weighing more than a ton press tightly together, forming immense living walls of thick skin-curved tusks and heavy layers of insulating fat. From a distance, such gatherings might appear peaceful, almost like a sanctuary. In reality, they represent a delicate balance. Walruses are highly social animals, and staying close together helps conserve warmth while offering a sense of safety. But that closeness also creates risk. A sudden movement can trigger a chain reaction of shoving bodies, and under such immense weight, the pressure can become overwhelming. Each shift within this crowd leaves visible marks on the shoreline. Sand becomes mixed with traces of dried blood, deep grooves carved by tusks and scars from earlier conflicts. The soundscape never truly fades. Deep grunts, the collision of heavy bodies, slow breathing, and the constant scraping of giants trying to share an area far too small. This migration is not measured by the distance traveled, but by the intensity of the gathering. Here, the challenge is not reaching the next destination, but simply finding a place to stop without being crushed by the mass around them. Where such a concentration of prey exists, watchful eyes are never far away. Polar bears patrol these gatherings with quiet persistence. Unlike their usual hunts for seals on the sea ice, they rely less on stealth here. Instead, they walk, observe, and study the crowd. Among thousands of similar shapes, their focus settles on subtle signs: a calf drifting away from the group, an exhausted individual, or a walrus poorly positioned near the edge. Often, the bear does not need to create chaos. The environment provides it. A sudden noise, an awkward shift in the herd, or a ripple of panic moving through the tightly packed mass can briefly open space. In those fleeting moments, the predator advances, sometimes threading through narrow gaps between enormous bodies that are themselves powerful and potentially dangerous. Even so, most walruses survive these encounters. The strength of the species lies not in speed or individual aggression, but in sheer numbers. Healthy adults form a nearly impenetrable barrier. Their long tusks tools for hauling themselves onto ice and also formidable defensive weapons create a zone of caution that even a predator as powerful as a polar bear must approach carefully. Once again, the migratory phenomenon does not collapse under the pressure of predators. Instead, it adapts. The crowd absorbs its losses and continues demonstrating that in these extreme environments, survival depends not only on individual strength, but on the collective ability to endure and reorganize. At the far reaches of the Southern Ocean, where relentless winds sweep across frozen waters and the cold shows little mercy, migration reveals yet another remarkable form. Here, the movement of life is not defined by long marches across plains or dramatic river crossings. Instead, it gathers in overwhelming numbers. On certain sub-Antarctic islands, entire shorelines cease to look like empty landscapes and begin to resemble living, breathing ecosystems. The bright white of snow disappears beneath vast layers of black silver and golden feathers. The ground becomes hidden beneath thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of king penguins packed together in dense colonies. From a distance, the shoreline seems to pulse with life. These gatherings are far more than temporary assemblies. They represent the center of a demanding and carefully timed migratory cycle that unfolds slowly over many months. Unlike most birds, the king penguin does not complete its breeding cycle within a single season. Instead, reproduction may stretch beyond an entire year. This unusual rhythm forces adults to travel repeatedly between the open ocean and the breeding colony. While one parent remains on land, carefully balancing the egg on its feet, beneath a protective fold of skin, the other heads out to sea, sometimes traveling hundreds of kilometers in search of food. These constant journeys create invisible highways through the surrounding ocean. Beneath the surface, king penguins dive to remarkable depths, often reaching more than 300 meters, where sunlight fades into darkness. Their bodies are built for such extreme conditions. Dense bones help reduce buoyancy. Their wings function as powerful flippers and their blood carries oxygen with exceptional efficiency. Even their heart rate can slow during deep dives, allowing them to remain underwater for extended periods. Yet every trip into the ocean carries danger. When an adult returns, it brings enough nourishment to sustain its chick for several days. But before reaching the relative safety of the colony, it must cross the most exposed stretch of the journey, the narrow and uncertain boundary where ocean ice and land meet. In this shifting zone, protection disappears, and a single miscalculation can change the outcome of the entire voyage. Few natural events are as extraordinary as the migratory journey of salmon. Their story does not begin solely in rivers nor end entirely in the ocean. It begins with memory, a chemical imprint formed during the earliest stage of life when a tiny larva drifts through calm, freshwater streams. As the fish matures, this imprint becomes an internal guide, an invisible compass that leads it across vast stretches of open ocean and eventually directs it back with remarkable precision to the very river where it first began life. Some species travel more than 6,000 kilometers through the sea before starting their return. During these years in the ocean, salmon grow larger, stronger, and accumulate the energy reserves they will later depend on. Yet the most demanding challenge still lies ahead. When the instinct to reproduce becomes impossible to ignore, they leave the salt water behind and enter one of the most difficult migrations in the animal kingdom. Even the transition from saltwater to freshwater places enormous strain on the body. Within days, their internal systems must completely readjust. Organs adapt, their skin darkens, jaws reshape, and muscles reorganize, all while they push upstream against currents seemingly designed to block their passage. From that moment onward, they stop feeding. Every kilometer of progress consumes energy stored during years at sea. Each leap over waterfalls, each collision with rocks, and every effort to navigate obstacles drains reserves that will never be replenished. In many rivers, more than 70% of the fish never reach the spawning grounds. Yet the collective movement continues without pause. The migration rarely happens in isolation. Thousands, sometimes millions of salmon move upstream together through narrow channels, transforming the river into a restless living current. The water churns with motion, the flow becomes turbulent, and the riverbed vanishes beneath the density of bodies. This sudden concentration of life reshapes the environment itself. Rivers once poor in nutrients become centers of fertility. Nitrogen and phosphorus carried from the ocean nourish algae, insects, birds, and even the forests growing along the banks. The influence can extend far beyond the water's edge. Trees growing at considerable distances from the river may reach greater heights thanks to nutrients released as fish decompose along the ecosystem. Scientists have found chemical traces of this ocean-derived nourishment in soil many years after the migration has passed. Yet wherever life gathers in such abundance, it inevitably draws attention from opportunistic hunters. In certain stretches of the river, the terrain naturally narrows, shallow passages, tight rapids, and unavoidable waterfalls where the effort of the salmon becomes predictable. It is in these places that another strategy appears, that of the brown bear. Unlike predators that rely on long chases or carefully planned ambushes, bears often take advantage of something far simpler: reliable abundance. Over thousands of years, entire bear populations have synchronized their movements with the seasonal arrival of salmon. For them, this event is not occasional. It is a crucial part of their yearly survival. During the peak of the salmon run, a single bear may consume dozens of kilograms of fish in one day. This rich supply of protein and fat fuels daily activity and, more importantly, allows the bear to build the energy reserves needed to endure the long winter when hibernation slows its metabolism dramatically. Their behavior along the rivers is far from random. Bears prefer shallow water, natural waterfalls, and slower stretches where salmon must repeatedly leap upstream. By the time the fish reach these points, many are exhausted. Their reactions slowed after a relentless struggle against the current. With measured movements, the bear takes advantage of this moment, capturing fish that have nearly spent the energy accumulated during their entire life at sea. This relationship goes far beyond a simple interaction between predator and prey. It forms an essential link within the ecosystem. After feeding, bears often carry portions of their catch into nearby forests, leaving scattered remains across the ground. These fragments gradually become natural fertilizer, enriching plants, insects, and microorganisms far from the river itself. Scientific studies have even discovered traces of ocean-derived nutrients within the tissues of centuries-old trees growing deep in the forest. Evidence of generations of bears transporting marine energy onto land. In this way, the bear becomes more than a hunter. It acts as a powerful distributor of life's resources, carrying the richness of the ocean into the heart of the terrestrial world. When the paths of migration fade into the distance and the echoes of pursuit disappear into silence, one truth remains clear: wildlife exists in a balance sustained by struggle. Every movement of the herd and every careful calculation of a predator adds another chapter to an ancient story, one in which survival demands endurance, patience, and at times sacrifice. Seen through the perspective of the hunter, migration becomes more than simple movement across landscapes. It becomes destiny. For some animals, the journey offers hope and renewal. For others, it represents the single opportunity to remain alive. In this way, predator and prey are bound together by the same invisible thread that keeps the natural world in motion. Across the planet's most demanding environments, from scorching plains to rushing rivers and frozen mountains, the same truth persists. No victory lasts forever, and no loss marks the true end as long as life continues to move forward. In the wild, struggle is not a choice. It is simply the way life continues to exist. If this journey into the heart of the wild inspired you, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Join us on Beast Call Nature, where every heartbeat, every watchful gaze, and every encounter reveals another layer of the natural world. In the wild heart of Kenya, nature unfolds in its most authentic and unforgiving state. Vast savannas stretch to the horizon, rivers shift without warning, and sun-baked plains test every form of life. Survival here is never passive. It is a daily struggle. Each dawn introduces a new trial, while every dusk carries the silent imprint of encounters that have shaped destinies. Within this untamed landscape, the divide between predator and prey is perilously thin. A brief lapse in awareness can reverse roles, and a single delayed reaction can alter the outcome entirely. Every chase, confrontation, and narrow escape is part of an ancient balance where instinct, experience, and adaptability determine who endures. The conflicts that define these lands are not fought for dominance or triumph, but for continuity itself. They are quiet yet ruthless struggles that keep the rhythm of the wild in motion. Kenya shows no mercy for mistakes, but it reveals a fundamental truth of nature: to survive is to risk everything. Beneath Kenya's scorching ground and open skies, baboons have learned not only to endure, but to thrive within an unforgiving landscape. They move through this environment as naturally as the Thameta grasslands that bend with the wind, yet never surrender. As omnivores, baboons rely on an exceptionally flexible diet, one that allows them to survive where many others struggle. On calm days, they travel without urgency, pulling tufts of grass, gathering fallen ripe fruits, digging for roots, and eagerly feeding on insects. At times, they patiently strip tree bark to reach the hidden starch beneath. But when scarcity sets in and hunger deepens, that calm expression sharpens, revealing a far more dangerous side. An ancient survival instinct takes control, pushing them toward harsher choices. In these moments, impala calves, fragile and momentarily separated from the herd, cease to be simple inhabitants of the savanna and become vulnerable targets. Morning light washes the troop in gold, highlighting coats dulled by dust and travel as the baboons advance in near silence. The air grows tense, as if the land itself anticipates what is about to unfold. Often perceived as peaceful foragers, baboons reveal another truth: under extreme conditions, they are capable, determined predators. Their solid builds, sharp canines, and remarkable cooperation allow them to hunt small prey effectively. This time, the focus is an impala calf, isolated, defenseless, and with little chance of escape. Adult males take the lead, larger and stronger, with jaws capable of delivering immense bite force. They initiate the attack. Woodland edges where scattered trees and low vegetation provide cover offer ideal conditions for an ambush. In the distance, an impala mother and her young cautiously approach the fringe of the brush, separated from the safety of the herd. From its earliest moments, a young impala must stand, run, and hide without hesitation. In this land, delay is unforgiving. From the shadows, a dominant male baboon begins to close the distance. He moves with practiced precision through grass and shade, every step deliberate. Then, in a sudden burst, he lunges forward. The encounter is over in seconds. The calf is pinned to the ground. By the time the mother reacts and rushes back, the outcome is sealed. The hunt ends in a hard-earned meal. One life fades and the troop secures another day of survival. Baboons live in social groups known as troops, ranging from a few dozen to several hundred individuals. Their society is tightly structured and hierarchical. A male's status depends not only on physical strength, but also on experience, alliances, and recognition within the group, a complex social system that strengthens their resilience in one of Africa's most demanding environments. When a female enters estrus, the atmosphere within the troop shifts instantly. The swelling and deep reddish coloration of her hindquarters become an unmistakable signal to dominant males. In a world where instinct operates alongside social order, raw strength does not always decide the outcome. A younger male may succeed through timing, agility, and strategy, seizing the right moment to challenge the established hierarchy and reshape his status. After roughly 6 months of quiet gestation, the female gives birth to a single infant. Multiple births are exceedingly rare in such a demanding environment. The newborn, weighing only a few kilograms, clings instinctively to its mother's chest from the very first moments of life. Here, maternal care goes beyond instinct alone. It becomes a powerful bond, refined by evolution into a form of devotion essential for survival. Motherhood, however, is not carried alone. Within the troop, the protection and care of infants is a shared responsibility. It is a collective effort, woven into a complex social network that surrounds the young from every direction. Males with close social ties to the mother often take on protective roles, standing guard, intervening when danger arises, and helping ensure that the next generation has a chance to endure in one of Africa's harshest landscapes. In this harsh and unforgiving land, trust can be as dangerous as weakness. By the unwritten laws of the savannah, lions rarely lower themselves to hunt such small prey. But hunger reshapes every rule. When the stomach is empty, pride loses all meaning. The baboon's confidence begins to fracture as it senses the lion's endless patience. The choice is impossible. A father sacrifices one life to save another. The elder draws the predators away from his young, hidden high in the branches. Survival often comes at a terrible cost, and those who live on may carry the weight of that loss for the rest of their days. Nature watches in silence, repeating the same ancient story, while the Creator offers no answers. As the rains return to the East African savanna, the fragile survivor must continue to grow. One truth is now undeniable here. Survival is everything. Unable to endure further loss, The baboon makes a calculated choice. At dusk, along the riverbank, something unthinkable takes shape, an uneasy alliance between two ancient rivals, the lion and the baboon. An unspoken rule is established. The lion does not hunt monkeys, and the monkeys remain silent when the predator moves through the grass. In return, the lion becomes an invisible shield for the troop. Thus begins a dark alliance, where the lives of others become the quiet price paid for peace. But the leopard knows nothing of this arrangement. As always, it waits for a lapse in attention, slipping in to seize its own reward before vanishing into the shadows. What follows is not triumph, but rage and humiliation. The baboons have provoked a greater force. Their momentary advantage leaves behind only bitterness. The leopard's task was already complete, its victim silenced, its spine broken before it disappeared into the night. Within the shared territory, the baboons gain freedom to feed without restraint. They are remarkably adaptable omnivores, consuming fruits, tender leaves, grasses, roots, seeds, tubers, insects, and small animals. This flexible and opportunistic diet is the foundation of their success across much of Africa and even the Arabian Peninsula. To lions, such prey is insignificant and scarcely worth notice. Word of the fallen sentinel spreads like a poisoned wind. The Lion King does not see this as an ordinary hunt. Retaliation has been decided, and this is only the beginning. Now, observing the leopard, few would believe that only hours earlier it embodied power and confidence. Death would be too simple. To live on in fear and disgrace, that is the true punishment. From above, silent witnesses saw everything unfold. They did not intervene. They only watched, calm and unmoved, as the violent chapter came to an end. The time has come to honor their role beside the lion. From the heights, the baboon troop assumes its position as lookout, long having declared itself guardian of the plain's gateway. One spots the hungry leopard prowling nearby, with or without alliances. The leopard has always been a natural enemy. The same is true of African wild dogs, efficient hunters with astonishing success rates. Even great kudos have learned a vital rule: heed the baboon's warning calls. For those cries often mean the difference between life and death. What these unsuspecting herbivores do not realize is that they are placing their fate in the hands of the savannah's most ambiguous creatures. Only when the Lion King and Queen awaken will the true nature of the baboons be revealed. The troop splits with purpose. Some race to alert the lion. Others remain above, watching in silence. They know exactly what is about to happen. The unfortunate kudu never had time to understand that it had been betrayed. Had the baboons traded their conscience and instincts forged over millions of years for a fragile sense of peace for them, at least. In this land, betrayal can become the highest form of wisdom when survival is at stake. As the rainy season fades, many animals emerge having endured the most forgiving time of the year. But for Aita, this marks the beginning of desperation. Nature shaped her into the fastest land animal on Earth, built to sprint across dry, open ground, a flawless hunting machine now betrayed by shifting conditions. Three empty stomachs wait in the shadows. Her cubs do not understand hunger yet, but they feel its absence. The weight of responsibility presses down on their mother, forcing her toward an unthinkable choice, crossing into forbidden territory. If the Lion King discovers the intruder, the cheetah will be killed without mercy. Yet before her lies life and the baboons. Bound by a blood pact with the lions, the baboons' role goes beyond silent cooperation. They have become guardians of food-rich grounds. Their watch never falters. The cheetah, despite her unmatched speed, is vulnerable. Conflict is never her preference. This time, at least, she faces baboons rather than lions. Even in humiliation, the solitary mother still has a chance to retreat. But one question lingers in the air: can an alliance born of fear and convenience truly endure? In the end, it is as fragile as a thread stretched too thin, and before long, something else draws near. The dry season arrives. The air grows heavier and dust thickens with each passing day. For some, this is a time of endurance. For others, it marks the beginning of decline. The buffalo need water, and to find it, they must move toward higher ground. A short migration begins exactly the moment the lions have been waiting for. Pregnant females carry the future of the herd, yet now they appear to be a burden. They move more slowly, weighed down, unlike the lionesses that gave birth at the start of the dry season, lighter, quicker, and able to focus entirely on protecting their young. This is also one of the rare moments when the male lions truly take the lead. The support of the baboons is no longer necessary. When facing a declared enemy, the kings of the savannah choose direct strength and open confrontation. A coalition is often made up of 3 or 4 adult males, but bringing down a buffalo can require only one. The massive herd breaks apart in confusion, like a shattered formation. In the chaos, a pregnant female, slow and heavy, falls behind. For an adult lion, the outcome becomes inevitable. Precision is all that is required. A male lion can consume up to 40 kilograms of meat in a single feeding. After hours of deep rest, hunger soon returns. The cubs, too, show signs of exhaustion and unrest. Those who feed last always bear the greatest cost. This time, that burden falls on the mother. In truth, the lionesses are hungry as well, and at times they seem to embrace it. Kenya's landscape is a striking contrast of extremes. Snow-capped mountains rise above scorched plains, while alkaline lakes burst into motion as flamingos take flight, transforming these harsh waters into vibrant centers of life within the savanna ecosystem. This remarkable ecological variety is shaped by a tropical climate, strongly influenced by the intertropical convergence zone. Two major rainy seasons stretching from March to May, and again from October to December restore vitality to the dry land. Kenya's ecosystems are not only rich in wildlife, but also carry the imprint of millions of years of geological change and natural evolution. Even today, powerful natural forces continue to sculpt this land, securing Kenya's place as one of the most iconic and awe-inspiring wild regions on Earth. At the heart of this system lies the Masai Mara, a vital component of an immense network of savannas and grasslands that flows seamlessly into Tanzania's Serengeti. It is a land that feels endless, where open fields stretch to the horizon. Scattered across the green carpet of grass, acacia trees stand like giant umbrellas rising from a sea of vegetation. The rainy season from March to May signals a rebirth across the plains. This territory is also home to legendary predators, the members of the famed Big Five lions, leopards, African elephants, buffalo, and black rhinos. They roam these lands year-round, sustaining a living cycle that never truly pauses. A comprehensive survey conducted in Masai Mara in 2023 revealed that large herbivores continue to dominate the savanna. Among them, blue wildebeest lead in overwhelming numbers, with more than 37,000 individuals forming living rivers that move relentlessly in search of fresh grass and water. Zebras follow closely, numbering over 32,000, their black and white stripes glowing beneath the unforgiving sun and casting sharp shadows across the golden plains. African buffalo, nearly 12,000 strong, advance like moving fortresses, symbols of raw strength and endurance in one of the world's harshest environments. Impalas, graceful and alert, number over 10,000 and rely on speed and adaptability to survive each passing day. Thompson's gazelles, smaller yet tireless, count more than 8,000 individuals, escaping danger through sudden bursts of astonishing speed. Each number reflects not just population, but resilience. Beneath the relentless sun, these herds remain in constant motion, racing against time while facing predators and the unpredictable will of nature. The plains of Masai Mara become an eternal stage where every creature plays its role. And so, life continues carried on the wind, rooted in the grass, and echoed in every beating heart of the wild. In the depths of the Masai Mara night, the unmistakable rasping laughter of the spotted hyena echoes across the savanna, a sound that signals mastery of the darkness. Far from the old myth that paints it as a mere scavenger, the spotted hyena is an accomplished hunter, obtaining nearly 90% of its food from prey it brings down itself. In this unforgiving environment, the spotted hyena stands out as one of the most intelligent and efficient predators on the plains. Its body is built for endurance rather than speed alone. Females, typically larger and more dominant, can weigh up to 73 kilograms, while males usually range between 41 and 54 kilograms. They live in a rare matriarchal society, unique among large carnivores. Females rule every aspect of clan life, and a single clan may include as many as 80 individuals. This hierarchy is not random, it is inherited, passed down through generations of dominant females, shaping the social order from birth. Spotted hyenas usually hunt in small groups, targeting the young, the weak, or those separated from the herd. They can reach speeds of up to 56 kilometers per hour and, more importantly, sustain long, exhausting chases that wear down their prey. Their most formidable weapon, however, is their jaw, among the strongest in the animal kingdom, capable of crushing bones. A feat few predators can match. With the ability to digest skin, cartilage, and even bone, the spotted hyena functions as a powerful biological recycler, leaving little behind after a meal. Their role extends beyond hunting. By consuming carcasses abandoned by other predators, hyenas serve as vital cleaners of the ecosystem. In doing so, they help reduce the spread of disease and preserve the fragile balance of natural cycles that sustain life across the Masai Mara. The white-backed vulture plays a very different role in the wild. It does not chase prey or dive from great heights in dramatic attacks. Instead, it follows the quiet signals of an ending, where death leaves its mark. That is where its work begins. Gliding over open skies, this bird moves on wings that can span up to 2.6 meters, stretched wide like pale ribbons suspended in the air. The light coloring of its back has become an unmistakable symbol, a sign of a species tasked with nature's cleanup. Below those wings lie vast plains and open woodlands, landscapes where life and death move side by side. With remarkably sharp eyesight, the white-backed vulture can detect a carcass from great distances, descending in a precise, almost silent spiral. Its hooked beak is perfectly adapted to tear through the remaining soft tissues of animals such as wildebeest, zebras, or buffalo, leaving the tougher remains for other scavengers. In doing so, It fulfills a vital role in maintaining the natural balance of the ecosystem. Yet its final descent is more than the closing of a life cycle. It also carries a troubling message, a quiet warning about the uncertain future facing the wild world it helps sustain. Thanks to its vast, uninterrupted landscapes, the Masai Mara continues to support one of the largest remaining populations of this species anywhere in Africa. Here, the south-central black rhinoceros stands as a living relic of an ancient world, a true survivor shaped by time. Weighing up to 360 kilograms, protected by skin as thick as armor, and bearing horns that can reach 1.2 meters in length. It embodies raw power and a distant, primal past. Its hooked, prehensile lips are perfectly adapted for life in harsh terrain, allowing it to strip leaves, snap branches, and pull new shoots from tough shrubs such as acacias and commiphora, even feeding on dry bark when necessary. Through the arid reaches of the savanna, the black rhino moves with quiet determination, locked in an endless search for sustenance. Despite its grayish hide, the name black rhinoceros does not describe its color, but rather the weight of its presence and its deep-rooted connection to these lands. Yet behind this imposing figure lies a story shaped by loss. Once the species ranged widely across eastern and southern Africa, from Tanzania to Zimbabwe, from Zambia to South Africa. Today, fewer than 3,000 individuals remain in the wild. The Masai Mara has become one of their final strongholds, a true sanctuary where the species still endures. It is the only region in Kenya where a native population of black rhinos survives, safeguarded by the sheer scale of the landscape and rigorous conservation efforts. In just 50 years, nearly 90% of the species has vanished. poaching silent, relentless, and devastating has claimed thousands of these giants, pushing the black rhinoceros to the very edge of extinction. Across the wide savannas of the Masai Mara, the Masai giraffe rises with quiet grandeur, a living tower that seems to bridge earth and sky. Reaching heights of up to 5.5 meters, this elegant giant moves with an unexpected grace through the grasslands, its presence commanding attention wherever it goes. Its unmistakable coat, patterned with dark, leaf-shaped patches stretching along the neck and body, sets it apart from other subspecies such as the reticulated giraffe. No two patterns are ever the same. Each one is a natural signature, shaped slowly by evolution and time. Beneath the spreading crowns of acacia trees, the Masai giraffe finds its daily nourishment. With a neck perfectly adapted for browsing high above the ground, a single individual can consume up to 34 kilograms of leaves each day. Acacias form the core of its diet, along with shrubs like Commiphora and Terminalia. In the harsh, dry savanna, every mouthful is a vital source of energy. Historically, Masai giraffes ranged widely from southern Kenya into northern Tanzania, thriving in open savannas and semi-arid landscapes. For generations, they moved freely across the Masai Mara and the Serengeti. Today, however, their numbers have declined at an alarming rate. Fewer than 45,000 individuals are believed to remain in the wild. Their struggle for survival grows more difficult each year, threatened by habitat loss driven by agricultural expansion and by illegal hunting. In this reality, the Masai Mara holds exceptional importance not only as a refuge for giraffes, but also as one of the last places in Kenya where a native population of black rhinoceroses continues to exist. Untouched by human relocation and protected within this enduring stronghold of wildlife, Kenya is a land where survival is decided in seconds. and the boundary between hunter and hunted is dangerously thin. Every encounter, every chase, and every narrow escape helps preserve the balance of a world that allows no mistakes. These struggles are not acts of cruelty, but of necessity. They are threads in a natural cycle that has sustained life for thousands of years, a cycle that today must be understood, respected, and protected. If this journey through the wild has inspired you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Llamado Salvaje TV. Join us as we continue to explore the raw, real stories of the animal kingdom. At the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro lies Amboseli, a vast and unforgiving ecosystem where every living being must earn its place. Heat waves ripple across the open plains. Crimson dust clouds the air, and each journey across this land carries the risk of unseen threats. In this wild domain, survival is a constant calculation. Predators observe with quiet precision, conserving energy for the perfect moment. Prey move with caution, knowing that a single mistake can seal their fate. In Amboseli, life is never guaranteed. Only the balance between awareness and endurance determines who remains. Here, where natural beauty meets relentless hardship, the cycle of survival continues without pause. Power, instinct, and adaptation shape every outcome, allowing life to persist in one of Africa's harshest yet most extraordinary environments. Situated in southern Kenya at the edge of the Tanzanian border, this region covers approximately 392 square kilometers. Despite having no coastline, it offers remarkable environmental diversity, from marshlands and shallow saline lakes to wide open savannas and dry, fractured soils during the harsh dry season. Its most striking feature is the dramatic silhouette of Mount Kilimanjaro, standing tall in the distance with a snow-covered peak that crowns the landscape year-round. As seasons shift, the scenery evolves. Dry periods turn the plains into stretches of sun-baked grass, while seasonal rains revive the wetlands and attract a rich variety of birdlife. Amboseli is internationally known as one of the premier destinations for observing African elephants, particularly the impressive bulls with massive tusks that symbolize the park's identity. The region is also deeply connected to the Maasai people, who have lived here for generations, maintaining their pastoral way of life alongside wild animals. Amboseli represents more than a protected area. It is a place where human heritage and wildlife coexist, and where every footprint in the dust reflects the enduring story of Africa's natural heart. Morning light spreads across the African savanna, painting the landscape in warm tones. From the cover of trees, a group of lions moves forward with measured confidence. Far ahead, zebras graze quietly on the open plain, unaware of the presence watching them. The youngest members of the herd dart about playfully, while the adults stand watch with calm awareness. Their hooves strike the ground in steady rhythm, and striped shadows drift across the grass. Soft calls echo as one zebra jumps lightly, sparking a brief moment of movement before the group settles once more, breathing in harmony with the land around them. Concealed among the tall grasses, a lion stalks its prey, muscles tense, senses fully focused. Suddenly, the stillness is broken. The lion surges forward in a burst of speed. The zebras scatter, dust rising as the herd flees. One young zebra veers away, changing direction repeatedly in a desperate attempt to outrun the threat. The pursuit is short but intense. With precise timing, the lion lunges and brings the zebra to the ground. The struggle fades quickly as the predator's strength takes control, ending the chase. Victorious but exhausted, the lion remains beside its catch as the rest of the pride approaches. Together, they feed beneath the early sun, fulfilling a vital role in the natural order. Here, in the wild heart of the savannah, survival depends on endurance, instinct, and the timeless relationship between predator and prey. The Cape buffalo is one of Amboseli's most recognizable herbivores, distinguished by its strong social bonds and intricate group dynamics. These animals usually live in large herds, often numbering in the hundreds where resources are abundant. Females and their calves form the heart of the group, while adult males may separate into smaller groups or live alone as they grow older. Life within the herd depends on unity. Buffalo rely on cooperation to reduce the threat posed by predators, especially lions. Through vocal warnings and physical signals, they alert one another to danger. As seasons change, the herds migrate together, following water sources and grazing areas with impressive accuracy and memory. Buffalo are not aggressive by nature, but when their young or weaker members are at risk, they become formidable defenders. dangerous situations, the herd may arrange itself defensively, placing strong adults along the outer edge and protecting calves at the center. Their power, speed, and unpredictable reactions make them one of Africa's most respected animals. As dawn bathes the savannah in warm light, a peaceful scene unfolds. A herd of buffalo grazes near tall grass, unaware that they are being watched. Nearby, a pride of lions rests in silence, carefully observing from concealment. The buffalo moves steadily toward the river, seeking water under the rising heat. At the same time, the lions begin to follow, advancing quietly and staying hidden among the vegetation. One bull lingers behind, distracted by richer grass. Isolated from the group, it feeds calmly. A lioness moves closer, pressed low against the ground, every step deliberate and silent. Without warning, the attack begins. The lioness sprints forward and the buffalo reacts instantly, charging and swinging its horns in an attempt to escape. The struggle is intense, but the coordinated effort of the pride brings the powerful animal down. After the hunt, the lions gather to feed, drawing strength from their success as the morning sun rises higher. In the African wilderness, life is shaped by instinct, hunger, and an unending struggle to endure. The impala is a master of balance in Amboseli, relying on intelligence, agility, and social awareness to survive in a predator-filled world. Its social life is highly adaptable. Females form large herds that provide safety through shared vigilance, while males either claim territories or join bachelor groups. Territorial males rarely fight to the point of injury. Instead, they rely on displays, vocal calls, and controlled pursuits to defend their status, preserving precious energy in an unforgiving environment. Grace and speed define the impala's movements. With the ability to leap great distances and heights, it escapes danger through unpredictable motion. When pursued, impalas often leap high and twist mid-air in a behavior that appears wasteful but serves a purpose, demonstrating fitness and confusing predators. Their controlled speed allows them to pivot sharply, slip through dense vegetation, and vanish into terrain where larger hunters struggle to follow. Even with these advantages, impalas remain among the most hunted animals in Amboseli. Their numbers, size, and daily routines make them an essential prey species for lions, leopards, cheetahs, and hyenas. During dry months, and when water and cover are limited, they gather in open spaces where danger increases. At such times, survival depends on heightened awareness, reading the wind, sensing subtle disturbances, and responding instantly to the alarm behavior of other animals. As the sun rises over the savanna, a pride of lions lies hidden in tall grass glowing with morning light. Nearby, a herd of impalas grazes peacefully. Their ears flick and heads lift occasionally, but no alarm is raised. One lion shifts position, beginning a careful approach. Unaware of the danger, the impalas continue feeding. An adult lion separates from the pride, flattening its body against the earth as it focuses on a younger animal. Step by step, the hunter closes in, perfectly synchronized with the movement of the grass. In a sudden burst, the stillness breaks. The lion launches forward with overwhelming force. The chase ends almost instantly as powerful jaws secure the impala. The lion drags its catch into cover, ensuring a meal earned through patience, precision, and instinct. If the lion commands the African plains, the rivers belong to a predator even older and more patient. The Nile crocodile is one of the continent's most efficient hunters, relying not on pursuit, but on ambush, endurance, and flawless timing. Its design is the result of ancient evolution, refined to perfection beneath the water's surface. This reptile masters the art of invisibility. With an exceptionally slow metabolism, it can remain submerged for long stretches of time. Its raised eyes and nostrils allow it to watch and breathe while the rest of its armored body stays hidden, blending seamlessly into the river itself. When prey approaches the water's edge, the crocodile unleashes its power. A single thrust of its tail propels its body forward in a lightning-fast attack, capable of overpowering animals many times its size and pulling them into the depths. Its jaws close with extraordinary force, among the strongest bites ever recorded in the natural world. To subdue its victim, the crocodile may twist violently in the water, a spinning motion that overwhelms resistance and leaves prey helpless. Though often solitary, Nile crocodiles can display a rare form of cooperation when large prey is involved, gathering to tear or divide a carcass. Their territorial instincts, underwater stamina, and precise judgment have kept them at the top of the food chain for millions of years. Hidden within a lush river corridor, dark waters wind silently through the forest. The surface appears calm, undisturbed. Along the muddy banks, impalas and buffalo descend carefully to drink. The herd relaxes, unaware of the danger lying just beneath the surface. Nearby, a massive crocodile rests almost entirely submerged, still as stone, waiting. As the impalas lower their heads, the crocodile moves. Slowly and unseen, it drifts forward beneath the water, just beneath the bank. It lowers itself further, disappearing completely. Then, in a violent surge, it erupts from the river, jaws snapping toward its chosen target. The attempt falls short by an instant. The crocodile slides back into the depths, the river returning to silence. But the hunt is not over. Beneath the water, the predator waits once more, unmoving, patient, and ready. In an instant, the calm shatters again. The crocodile surges from the water with explosive force, jaws snapping shut around a young impala. This time, there is no escape. The grip is absolute. The impala struggles desperately, twisting and kicking, but the predator's hold only grows stronger with every attempt to break free. The commotion does not go unnoticed. Other crocodiles, alerted by vibration and scent, begin to close in. What began as a solitary hunt quickly becomes a contest. The first crocodile fights to maintain control of its capture, but hunger drives the others forward, tightening the circle. Eventually, the combined power of the group prevails. The impala is pulled apart in a chaotic struggle as feeding begins. In this shadowed river, life is governed by relentless competition, where strength and opportunity decide who claims the reward. Among the great hunters of the African savanna, the leopard remains one of the most mysterious. Agile, intelligent, and immensely powerful. It thrives through solitude rather than numbers. Each individual claims a personal domain shaped by hidden trails, shaded trees, and elevated lookout points that provide both shelter and control. Active mainly under cover of darkness and during the fading light of dawn and dusk, the leopard reads the landscape with precision, using wind direction, shadows, and terrain to stay invisible to vigilant prey like impalas and warthogs. Its approach is nearly flawless. Step by step, it slips forward without triggering alarm, its spotted coat dissolving into the background and breaking up its shape even across open plains. When the strike comes, it is sudden and decisive. A single explosive bound, a perfectly placed bite, and absolute balance allow the leopard to subdue animals far larger than itself. Afterward, it often drags its prize into the branches of a tree, not merely a display of strength, but a calculated solution to avoid theft from dominant scavengers and rival predators. Versatility defines the leopard's survival. Unlike specialists, it adjusts its menu according to what the land provides, hunting antelope one day and smaller animals the next. This flexibility grants it access to habitats where other predators cannot endure. As sunrise paints the forest in warm hues, the canopy comes alive with monkeys leaping between branches in search of food. On the ground below, barely visible among the grasses, a leopard moves like a shadow, silent, focused, and patient, waiting for the right moment to act. Far across the plain, a group of impalas feeds in calm silence, unaware that they are being carefully observed. A leopard climbs onto a rocky outcrop, using the height to study the herd. Its attention narrows on a single impala that lingers just beyond the group's protective formation. Once the decision is made, the predator glides through thick vegetation, positioning itself with precision. Reaching the base of a towering acacia, it climbs swiftly into the canopy and vanishes among the leaves. From its elevated perch, the leopard waits motionless, tracking the rhythm of the herd below and timing every movement. Unaware of the threat above, the impalas continue grazing. Then, in an instant, the leopard drops from the branch like a falling shadow. The impact is exact. The startled impala cries out and attempts to flee, but powerful claws hold it fast. The leopard closes its jaws around the neck, ending the struggle with practiced efficiency. As the impala's strength fades, the predator pulls the body toward the tree. With remarkable power, it lifts the lifeless form into the branches, securing it beyond the reach of competitors. High above the savanna floor, safe from scavengers, the leopard rests beside its prize, another silent chapter in the ongoing story of survival. Few animals embody speed like the cheetah, a predator refined by evolution for brief, devastating pursuits. Its lean frame is built for airflow and efficiency, with a broad chest that fuels rapid breathing and a lightweight abdomen that reduces drag. Exceptionally long legs deliver enormous strides, while a highly flexible spine stretches and coils like a spring, amplifying each burst forward. Unlike other cats, its semi-retractable claws grip the ground for traction, and its extended tail serves as a balancing guide, allowing precise turns even at incredible velocities. Hunting is an art the cheetah has perfected. It advances low to the ground, hidden among grasses until the distance is just right. Then comes the release, an explosive sprint marked by sudden accelerations and sharp corrections, matching every evasive move of fast-moving prey. A well-timed swipe disrupts the target's balance, followed by a swift, decisive hold that brings the chase to an end. Though each hunt is physically demanding and leaves little margin for error, the cheetah's mastery of speed and timing places it among Africa's most refined predators. Beneath overcast skies, light rain darkens the savanna as a group of cheetahs move silently across the damp terrain. Despite the chill and wet ground, their focus is absolute. Nearby, a herd of wildebeest grazes along a hillside, drawn by fresh growth after the rainfall. One cheetah drops into cover, creeping forward as the unaware animal feeds. A subtle signal passes through the group, and suddenly, the chase erupts. The cheetahs explode into motion, scattering the herd in every direction. One wildebeest hesitates for just a moment, sealing its fate. The predators split their approach, forcing the animal to twist and turn as it struggles for escape on slippery grass. Working in seamless coordination, the cheetahs close the gap with relentless precision. The wildebeest breaks from the circle, but the effort comes too late. Within seconds, the cheetahs secure their prize, ending the pursuit. As rain continues to fall, they gather to feed speed and cooperation, once again proving decisive in the unforgiving rhythm of the wild. Under the blazing African sun, a shadow circles high above the dry plains. Broad wings remain motionless as the bird rides invisible currents of warm air. The vulture is no predator. It is nature's cleanup specialist, a crucial yet often overlooked player in the web of life. With a massive wingspan and keen eyesight, it searches the land for what others fear to face. Its featherless head, stained red by the work it performs, is perfectly adapted for survival in a harsh role. Decay is not something the vulture avoids. It is where its mission begins. One lands, then another. Soon, a gathering forms as dark wings descend from the sky. What appears chaotic is in truth a well-ordered system. The dominant lappet-faced vulture takes the lead, using its strength to open thick skin that smaller species cannot breach. White-backed vultures follow closely, crowding together in a brief but intense feeding event. This is not brutality, it is biological necessity. Left untouched, a massive carcass could contaminate the land, spreading diseases capable of devastating wildlife populations. Vultures prevent that outcome. Their digestive systems destroy pathogens so dangerous they would kill most animals. By removing decaying remains, vultures protect water sources, soil, and entire food chains. They are not agents of death, but recyclers of life, turning decay into balance. From deserts to jungles, from plains to peaks, vultures adapt wherever their service is needed. Across continents, the pattern repeats. Condors soar over the Andes with effortless grace. In South Asia, vultures safeguard river ecosystems. On African grasslands, they follow migrating herds, restoring the land after life has passed on. Yet, despite their vital role, vultures are among the most threatened birds on Earth. Poisoning, habitat loss, and deep-rooted superstition have pushed many species into decline. Still, awareness is growing. Slowly, these misunderstood birds are being recognized not as omens of death, but as protectors of life, essential allies in maintaining the health of our planet. This brings us to the end of another story written on the dry yet extraordinary land of Amboseli, a place where life unfolds through resilience, patience, and moments of quiet tension. Every animal here, from the towering elephant to the unseen hunter in the grass, lives on the edge of survival. Each movement carries both hope and risk, each breath a fragile negotiation between hunger and danger. But beneath the raw intensity of nature lies something far more profound, an ecosystem shaped by time, struggle, and balance. In Amboseli, there is no malice in the chase, only necessity. And beauty is not found in softness, but in power, adaptability, and the relentless drive to endure. These ancient landscapes are not only home to wildlife, they are also part of our shared responsibility. Every birth, every migration, every hunt is a reminder that this natural harmony is delicate and that its future rests in human hands. To protect wildlife is to safeguard more than species. It is to protect memory, behavior, connection, and the living heritage of a planet that cannot be replaced. When one species vanishes, the Earth loses more than sound, it loses meaning. As evening falls and the sun dips behind Kilimanjaro, bathing the savanna in its final glow, a timeless truth reveals itself: survival is rare, precious, and worthy of protection. If this journey through Amboseli has inspired you or deepened your appreciation for the natural world, we invite you to subscribe to the channel. Your support allows us to continue telling stories that encourage respect, understanding, and real action for conservation. Thank you for watching. Together, let us stand in defense of the planet's wild soul.